but I didn't think he would really have a shot of getting pole. It looked like Piastri had a huge advantage. As usual, Verstappen is he's a late bloomer. From Q1 to Q2 to Q3, he builds up his rhythm. Then he had one of the most unbelievable laps. This lap goes up there with his lap in Suzuka. The main thing that helped him get the pole here is that this is a fast track with a very long straight, the hanging straight, which is full throttle, and it's a flat track. So he said, okay, I'm not going to do well maybe in sector 3. I think it's sector 3 where the slow speed corner. There's only really 1 or 2 slow speed corners and medium speed corners. So what he decided to do was what he did in Suzuka. He just said, fuck it, man, I don't need a back wing. I'm exaggerating, but he dialed down his back wing so he could have top speed. And in this qualifying, his top speed was 328 kilometers at the time limit. Everybody else was 322. He had a 6-kilometer advantage. And a lot of people are saying the other people should have cut their back wing also, because this track has so much those high speed corners like Cops and those ones. It's so fast and so flat that you might as well not even have wing, because the downforce will hurt you. But the problem is, I don't know how many drivers can drive without that downforce, especially in those high speed corners like Verstappen can. His car was very efficient aerodynamically, brought in a lot of speed through the high speed corners and everything. But the key is that without that downforce, most drivers wouldn't feel comfortable and would not be able to control the car. And we saw, even with more downforce, Piastri messed up. Hamilton messed up. And Norris, I think Norris messed up a little bit too. They just can't handle high speed corners unless they have a stable back. So once again, this was a fantastic qualifying by Verstappen. Someone said that that's what you call a racer's decision. His decision to cut the wings, because the engineers say, no, don't do that, because it'll mess up your downforce and your tires will give out. But now that Verstappen is in pole position, he has clean air. He can go through this. He has a good line and everything. I don't think McLaren is going to have him on race pace. Even in, I don't know if you guys noticed, in free practice 3, did you notice that, Falabi, that when they did the race pace test, Verstappen was ahead of everybody else in race pace, like over 10 laps. He was averaging 2 or 3 tenths faster. So I think this track is good for Red Bull because it doesn't have a lot of slow speed corners. It has one main slow corner and a couple of medium speed, but in general, this track doesn't wear out the tires. And fortunately for Red Bull this week, it's on and off every week. They had enough grip. What are your thoughts? And also they had decent balance. But the problem with Red Bull is you don't know what's going to show up every week. What are your thoughts, Falabi?
That's exactly what I was going to start with, because it appears that the drive was flawless. It was a brilliant performance. Like you rightly mentioned, there was aerodynamic balance, good ground effect, good downforce, especially when cornering and especially along the high-speed corners. But my question is, where was the RB21 at the last race? There seems to be a lot of inconsistency with the setups and upgrades being done by Red Bull. So you never know. It's like one fantastic race and then one mediocre race. And if not for Max Verstappen's racecraft and his very good ability on this track, they would have been way back.
Sorry, kind of funny, because even though we've explained how he did it, there's still a missing magical element on how he did that lap. Nobody knows.
Yes, nobody knows. So, and that's what makes him very special. So my question is, when we leave Silverstone and go to the next race, what are we going to get from Red Bull? Because there's so many
and also he can't afford to take his back wing off like that on a track which is more rear limited. On a more rear limited track, it'll eat up his tires. He can afford to do it at Silverstone because it's called Silverstone, because Silverstone doesn't have. They don't have long radius, long corners of constant radius. They don't have those corners that drag and mess up your rear. It just has one sort of like a hairpin, and then it has a sort of SE middle speed, but the rest of it is high speed, and it has that very long straight. But once again, Verstappen was coming into those corners at high speed, which is why even if his car is slower through the corners, he has more momentum, so he still runs the corner faster. Sorry, I cut your thought. What else were you going to say, Falabi?
Yeah, that's just basically what I'm saying, is that the fact that Red Bull has to be more consistent with the tops of the car.
It's rubbish.
Without a doubt. Because we don't want, it's like a sine curve. They do well in one race, they go down in another race. So,
but they tend to do well but once again, on high speed. Jeddah, In Jeddah, he came second, I think. Second because on Piastri, or second and third. He came third because Piastri beat him to the corner and embarrassed him. But he came first in Suzuka. He came first in Imola. All of these are fast tracks in which you don't need to have so much rear. But like you said, though, last week didn't make sense in Austria, which is a fast track, and he had no grip. So they're just shooting in the dark. What it was is they just experimented with that car, and they got lucky this week.
Exactly.
To find the right, they made the right call. You know what they said? They said that if Verstappen had kept his rear wing, he would have come seventh. About seventh.
Well, you see,
and that's a problem. They said he would have come seventh or sixth if he had kept his rear wing. What are you going to say, Mr. Johnny? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're shooting in the dark. I was about to say that. I think they showed some kind of knowledge or like some kind of intelligence. Like they realized that this car is not going to be fast enough. So what are we going to do? They knew the problem, and then they found the solution. So they actually, they actually did what they had to do. So maybe
last week there was just no solution. So I understand what you're saying.
I think last week they were working on the solution last week because I saw how they were doing that. They're funny. First time I was doing some kind of funny doing the free practice or doing some kind of funny practice sessions. With the hard tires. So they probably had but we don't know whether it worked or not because he got crashed out. But
he was actually doing well. He was doing well.
Yes,
he was doing well. You're right. And this goes to my
well in the practice.
Let's imagine something. Let's imagine that Verstappen didn't get crashed out last week. He most likely would have come third. Okay, and imagine he hadn't lost all those places in Spain. This guy would be in Spain. Remember in Spain where he crashed into Russell Purvis? This guy will be right there for the championship. It's just one or two. This guy is dangerous. It's not over yet with him. But you're right. Very good point. Thank you.
So it showed that they work. So I think what they do now is that they are taking each race one at a time. Okay, this is what we're going to do. This on this race. This is what we're going to do next. And so that's why it looks like the car.
I think the main thing that hurt them was getting crashed last week, and also Verstappen will regret hitting into George Russell because Verstappen might have even won that race if they hadn't made that tire mistake. Remember in Spain?
Yeah.
It would have been a different story if Verstappen had won in Spain and then last week he'd come third. He'd be like maybe 15 points behind Piastri. So like you said, it's not over, and tortoise of the hair. But this is the opposite. The hair is the MCL 39, and the tortoise is Piastri and Norris. The tortoise is driving the hair. What are your thoughts today?
I was impressed with
but what I'm saying, those guys, they're going to do like the hair. They're going to eat Amala and say we're winning. Then the second half of the year, either Leclerc or Verstappen or Russell might beat them. Sorry, Kunle, go ahead. Yeah.
So I was impressed with Verstappen, and I'll tell you why. Because what he did with that car, I don't think that car was outstanding. I think that it was the actual ability on that last lap in Q3. Didn't make any mistakes. You saw Hamilton was actually ahead of the time, and then he lost.
I thought Hamilton was going to get pole. Hamilton lost 10th of a second.
And our boy Verstappen nailed every corner.
Yeah. Do you know how hard it is to do that because he sat last. He waited for everybody to finish, then he did the last one. Verstappen is cold-blooded, man. Sorry, continue, Kunle. Yeah. Kule's cutting. I think Kule has
make a mistake. Even
no mistakes at all.
Yeah, even if a was driving, am I there? Have you lost me?
Yeah, but you were braking. You said he didn't make a mistake. Yeah.
Yes. I said that if Verstappen was even driving the Williams, he'd have qualified the quality of the car. I think there are a lot of cars that Verstappen could have qualified pole with in that race.
Yeah, but the main thing was but whatever cars he used, he was going to trim the rear wing. That was the key, trimming the rear wing, because he had a 6 km/h advantage over everybody. He was 328 kilometers per hour on the straight. So he could have done it with any of those cars, but he would have still clipped the wing especially since he has that rear wheel. But a lot of people are arguing that the other teams should have clipped their wing also because that car has so much of a straight ahead. So you don't. It's almost like too much drag. That straightaway, if you have a regular downforce settings, it's just too much drag. You understand what I'm saying, Afolabi? What do you think?
I understand.
Things on that already twitchy. Are you sure these are the drivers
Kuna, you're breaking. We don't even know what you're saying, man. You got to get better equipment. Every show you break, man. I can't even hear what you're saying.
That's another question.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let me switch connections.
Yeah, Fabi, what were you gonna say?
Yeah. So basically, I think he was a very good driver, and I'm expecting him to win in the race tomorrow, without a shadow of doubt.
Yeah,
he would defend well. He would defend well.
Exactly. Never know.
Basically, I don't expect any drama. I expect him to start and lead from start to finish. The way he
Piastri's there with him, so. But Piastri's going to be timid because Piastri doesn't want to get into a crash. And then
the two McLarens have to be very careful. And then behind Lando is Russell. So it won't be easy for them to chase down Max. So it's going to be very
I'm hoping that Russell does something and causes a crash with Lando. Let me tell you, if I were, a lot can go wrong for McLaren tomorrow. Verstappen has nothing to lose because he's almost given up for this season. He has nothing to lose. Those McLaren guys, and they're still in a battle for supremacy on their own team. What are your thoughts, Mr. Johnny? Yeah.
No, sorry, but I don't think McLaren is getting carried away, Mustafa. They're still weary of Max Verstappen.
Oh, no, yeah, no, you're right. That's what I meant. What I'm trying to say is that those guys are going to be nervous.
Yeah.
They're nervous. And they're going to be nervous. And the thing is, Verstappen is embarrassing these guys, man. Even Russell did well. Russell jumped in front of Hamilton in a very inferior car. You know, this shit is crazy. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Johnny?
Well, I noticed one thing, Cha, that Verstappen and these radio guys were doing, the engineers were doing. Is this trick that they used to do like 3-4 years ago? They'll say, the car is not drivable, but they actually mean the car is good.
Stand back.
You know, so that's what Verstappen was actually saying, that the car is not good. The car is not good, but he actually meant that the car is good. When he did one, during, I think it was in Q2 or so, said something. He actually came pole at his lap, and then after at the end, he said, this car is not good. It's difficult to drive, but that actually meant
those guys are so confident.
He actually meant the other way around, you know, that the car is actually good. And he used to do that a lot, doing a lot of trainings for 2-3 years ago, you know.
Yeah, but last week when he said this car is rubbish, he meant it, though. But you're right.
I think he probably didn't mean it. Maybe he didn't. The car was actually getting good, or it was doing something. Or I mean, you know, they knew what he probably meant that, okay, that thing we're working about, that our plan is working, you know, but he meant it in the opposite way. But you know, now we didn't see the full race. I mean, he crashed out, you know. But we'll have to watch them, watching them. But for sure, good race from Verstappen and the engineers. I mean, they really showed some kind of, as in they wanted to win. They used their technicalities to win it, you know.
Have you noticed that this year Verstappen has had 3 or 4 qualifiers, which people say this is the best we've ever seen in our life. This guy he's becoming like Michael Jordan, consistently doing the impossible, man. The guy's crazy. What are your thoughts, Kunle? Is Kunle there?
I think he has frozen.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting race tomorrow. In the UK is actually now available.
It's not good. I promise you. It doesn't sound good at all, man.
I'm breaking again.
Yeah, maybe you should stand closer to the.
Okay, let me leave and come back.
This thing is getting serious, man. Anyway, let's go to the next thing. What was the what's going on with Russell? I hear that Martin Brumble says that Russell's not getting the respect he deserves by leaving him hanging to dry for a contract and everything. Did you see what happened today with Verstappen? There's a reason why they're disrespecting Russell. It's not that Russell isn't good. Who in their right mind won't take Verstappen? What do you think, Afolabi?
Yeah, you can't blame Toto Wolff for cutting Verstappen, but I think Russell has done enough for Mercedes to take a stand and be decisive. Because if they tie down, because next year there's a change of regulation, and Russell would want assurances from his team to know what the future holds for him. And basically that's what Martin Brundle was saying, that George Russell is being exposed by not by Mercedes not signing him up and securing his future. And since Hamilton left, he has stepped into a leadership role, and he has even won a race this season and has had a lot of good performances. So I think that is enough for them to take a decisive, decision on his contract.
But to me, they're decisive. They offered him 1 year, and Toto Wolff has made it clear. Even what's his name made it clear. For the first time, this guy finally said it. Horner. He said that he knows that within a year or 2 years, Verstappen will be gone. So what I'm saying is that Mercedes is decisive. They want Verstappen, and they say it's not fair. It's fair. Verstappen is better than Russell.
Yes, and I think it's because
they're telling Russell we can only give you 1 year, and if Russell doesn't like it, he can go to another team. What do you think, Mr. Johnny?
Yeah, I think it's kind of obvious what Mercedes is doing and Toto Wolff are doing. They're trying to just keep that door open, for just in case. Just in case. They don't want to just lock themselves down. And so because they want to, for sure, Verstappen is up for grabs, or is right there. So they just want to just keep that door.
And here's what the guy said. Here's what the guy said. Russell is piecing together arguably his strongest F1 season yet. True. Recently claiming the Canadian Grand Prix victory, his fourth Korean, but it has not been enough to convince Mercedes to pull the trigger because Verstappen is still there. If you are a hunter and you had 2 deer to shoot and you see buffalo that could last you for 6 months, or you see small antelope that can last you, which one are you going to shoot? You're going to go for the bigger one.
Yeah.
The British, I don't know, the British are stupid. F1 is not about how hard you worked. It's about your market value. So what I'm trying to say is you can work hard and get A's, all A's, and because you worked hard. And me, I didn't work hard, but I got all A's, A+. They're going to choose the person with the higher score. Verstappen is the best driver on the market. So that's why they're not going to commit to Russell, especially after you see what Verstappen's doing with that car. So there's no problem because the rumors are that Russell rejected a 1 year plus one. If Russell knows he's good, why not sign for his 1 year? And then at the end of the 1 year, re-sign again. You get what I'm saying? What do you think, Afabi? Yeah.
I think they're being cautious because they know the regulations are changing in 2026. And on Russell's part too, I think perhaps Verstappen has given Toto Wolff some secret assurances because it's a gamble too. What if it backfires and Max doesn't come? It could undermine the performance of the Mercedes drivers.
But here's the thing: if you give this guy Russell a 1 year contract, and then Max doesn't come, then they can extend Russell's contract.
Yeah.
If Russell leaves now,
that's what they're going to do. I think that's what.
If Russell leaves now, then they'll take Verstappen because now Horner, for the first time, Horner said that. Basically, Horner was saying, "I hope Verstappen stays for 2026 at least, because I know he's going to go." You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand.
Verstappen was the one who reached out to Mercedes, and he said, "I want to come there."
Yeah.
And personally, my prediction is that Verstappen will go to Mercedes in 2027. What do you think, Mr. John?
Giving them assurances, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. No, he's going to go there. The only other place he could go is Aston Martin. Mm-hmm. But
and Aston Martin,
he may stay at Red Bull. If Red Bull does well next year, then no problem. Mercedes will sign Russell. Russell should just be focused on driving.
Aston Martin is just preparing for next season, really. They don't have
let me give you an example. Russell says he cares about his long-term future and everything. He needs money. He drove to this British Grand Prix in a $2 million Aston Martin or something like that. He owns a $2 million car. But he says, I'm worried about my future. No matter where he goes, he's going to be rich for life. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Of course.
All these drivers, they say, what about my future? My future, but already you have enough money that can last.
But in the world of Formula One drivers, money is never really enough.
But that, you know what that is? Their value system is messed up. Perfect example. Sure. Mr. Johnny, do you remember Jordan took pay cut for 10 years? And then final year, he said, give me $35 million. His last year. He took pay cut so they can bring in Robin so they can win. Yeah. Remember what I said last week?
Sure.
What do you think? If you offered Verstappen 100 million pounds or 2 million pounds, but you get 100 million, he doesn't win. Verstappen only cares about one thing, winning.
Yeah, sure.
So my thing is they're all rich. All of them have private jets. It's not like they don't have money. So once you become that rich, all you should care about, perfect example, this guy will be crying even after he quit football. Every time Argentina loses, Maradona will cry. Do you get my point? Do you understand? But they're all rich. These guys will be rich. So my thing is that I think in our society, we're losing perspective.
Yes, yes,
For
yes.
example, if I make 100,000 a year, let's say they told me somebody told me I can make 100,000 a year, and all I had to do was this show,
Yeah.
or they told me I could make 300,000 a year, but I could be a lawyer and I'll never do this show again, and I'll just be by myself, not hang with my friends. I'm going to choose 100,000. Do you get my point?
I get what you mean.
Why do you see rich people committing suicide? People who have all the money. Why is it that rich people's children are killing themselves? So my point being is that once you have a certain amount of money, it's different. If someone said, do your show, you only make 25,000 a year, or you make 100 as a lawyer, I'll take the lawyer. But once you get to the level that you're making 3 million, 4 million pounds a year, what else do you want? Perfect example. Look at Tony Williams. He's not leaving. What's that guy? Williams, Nico Williams, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, he's not. He has signed up with
Barcelona.
Yeah.
He's staying with Atletico.
Yeah.
Because that's it. He's already rich. Okay, maybe he'll get more money in Barcelona and they'll put him on the bench. I'm getting off track, but my point being is that all these guys are lucky. George Russell is lucky to be an F1 driver. He's lucky to have a seat at Mercedes. He has a choice. If he doesn't want 1+1, then he should go to another team. But he shouldn't complain that, Mercedes isn't being fair. Because they're being fair. It's a contract. It's a legal contract. Take it or leave it. What are your thoughts on Mr. Johnny?
Yeah, man. What's his name? Russell should just, because I keep saying one time about Russell, he hasn't won anything. I mean, he can't open his mouth anyhow, because he hasn't won anything. So he should just be humble. Whatever they shouldn't even complain or make any noise. Okay, sign it, and then
Verstappen
win something first.
Verstappen wins more races in a year than Russell has won his whole career. How many has Russell won? 4.
See,
Verstappen will win 5 or 6 this year.
There was I think there's one race it was a long time ago. I think it was 2020, and it was the main at the end of the, I can't remember what it was, but at the end of this was the 4 drivers. It was Hamilton, Verstappen, Alonso, and Russell. All 4 of them, they were all racing hard, boom. Russell could not keep up after some time. After some, he even had an accident because he was trying to keep up with the
big boy. But I know Mr. Johnny doesn't like Russell though.
And I don't care about Russell, because it's because of his lack of humility. I mean, you haven't done anything. Start making noise. And
I think that's the main thing. For example, has anyone ever heard Verstappen say he's the best? I've even heard Verstappen ever brag. Never.
No, it just doesn't.
Never. He just say the car was good today. I was happy. The car was bad today. I was not happy. That's all he ever says. He didn't say, well, I've never heard Verstappen. Like, remember Lewis Hamilton? You don't know me. I'm a black man. I'm going to beat your ass. Everybody else brags except for Verstappen. So my thing is, focus. George Russell is spreading himself. He's a politician. He's part of the Drivers Association. He's always in the steward's place trying to get people to ignore it. Brake testing, trying to get Verstappen to pass him. What he needs to do is win a championship, like you said.
Yeah.
If he wins a championship, they'll start him for 5 years. What are your thoughts on that?
What would be a natural fit for Russell, I think, is if he actually joined Aston Martin. That's actually, if he left Mercedes, that would be a hand in glove for him.
That would be, and you have Adrian Newey. Cooley is breaking. Afolabi, what are your thoughts?
Yes, he has continued to Afolabi. Is Afolabi there?
Yes, I'm here.
I think Cooley, your breaking is really bad, man. You're going to have to get a new network because we can't move on like this, man. This is horrible. I'm not going to lie to you. It's really bad.
I should talk. I've got 2 different systems. I don't know why they're not working.
But it's like this. It's been like this for the past 2 weeks now.
Wi-Fi.
I have to move on. I'm not trying to be rude, but I have to move on because we can't hear you. I just have to move on.
All right.
So we're going to round up very soon. Now, Harvey, what are your thoughts? Yeah.
Please, can you just take that again? I didn't get what we were saying.
Last thoughts. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, you guys are right. He has not earned the right to dictate for Mercedes. I think he should just take a 1-year contract and move on. And based on his performance this season, he can then renegotiate for a longer term contract because it's a 2-way thing. Mercedes too need assurances from the quality of the driving of their drivers because 2026 is going to be a whole new ball game. It's like tearing the paper and starting on a fresh slate. So guys are, they're looking at the dynamics before they sign anybody onto a long-term contract. And Max Verstappen too can still go to Aston. So I think it's a very dicey situation.
You know, these British commentators, they just need to leave, stop talking about these drivers. Let these drivers, they're adults, they know what they're doing. But quickly, what happened, Mr. Johnny, what happened to Lewis Hamilton? Because he looked like he
I think in the last sector, he made two mistakes, you know, and then he lost some time. That was it, because he was doing very, very well. He was really doing well. He would have even come
P2. He could have come P2, but I don't think he's going to beat Verstappen this time. But I think he could have come second or maybe first. At least close. So, that's at least those mistakes that he just made, those two, and then that just But I still think that we're going to have a Hamilton. Next year, Hamilton will have a shot at winning for the championship if you give him the right car.
Yeah, you know.
Let's speculate one more time. Any thoughts on Hamilton, Kule? Let's see if your thing works now.
Well, Hamilton had a slightly disappointing qualifier. I think that he had a very fast car there and he was underachieving. But I think he does have the ability to bounce back. It's one of his favorite tracks. This is a Hamilton track, and he's always shown to be good on them. So he can be dangerous. Anything can happen in Formula One. Red, yellow flags, all sorts of unexpected issues. And this is a driver's track, and it's fast. And is Verstappen going to be perfect on every lap? Because it's going to take a lot of perfection, whilst all these other cars around him, there's a lower margin of error that will still keep them hunting at that level. So he would have to drive consistently faster. Whether the removal of the tail that he's going to put in the race is going to affect the downforce and the degradation of the tires, let's wait to be seen. Although, as you said earlier, Silverstone isn't really a track for degradation, but because it's hot, I don't know whether it's going to be hot tomorrow, but I think it's going to be
nowadays, Verstappen, he can even do a 3-stop strategy or something like that. But I think he'll be okay, because those guys are going to be fighting each other, the 3 people behind him. Yeah. They're going to fight each other and wear their tires out and go in dirty air. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So for Hamilton, he could be there or thereabouts. Let's wait and see. He's done all right. He could have done better, but he's done okay.
He was doing well. It looked like he was going to get pole position. I think part of it is because he knows that track. What do you think, Mr. Johnny? He knows that track inside out, Silverstone. He's been on the podium 15 times in Silverstone. 15 times.
Hamilton can drive that track blindfolded. You know, he can actually.
You're absolutely right.
He won last year. Last year he won there.
Yeah, he won there last year.
All right, guys, good show. Take us out of Olabi.
Okay, it's been another brilliant Formula One show. We've been discussing the qualifiers for Silverstone, as well as the stalling of George Russell's new contract. And from Kule Williams, myself, Mustafa Jinoda, and Mr. Johnny, we'll be back again probably tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow on Monday. Thanks, guys. Nice one.
Yeah.